welcome back to improvement number 2 by SC2 Improve. Once again guys, please do check us out on twitter.com/sc2_improve, facebook.com/sc2improve, our website as well, www.sc2improve.org, to keep up with all of the latest events and stuff that comes out of SC2 Improve. So next game is going to be PvP to keep it changing up. In the bottom left hand corner we do have our red Protoss player Alaran, who did submit this replay. And in the top right hand corner we do have the blue Protoss player MrBlond. And we're going to see what these guys are going to go into. So again guys, if you want to submit a replay, http dropdebt.sc, upload your replay there, post it in the chat, and I'll add it into the list of replays to be casted. We've got quite a lot to go through, so I'm going to start speeding up the breaks a little bit. I just had to go get a drink during that last one because my throat started dying. So gateway is coming down for both players here. MrBlond's gateway is slightly later than Alaran's, by about 10 seconds. So Alaran, a little bit more of an offensive capability. Not too much more though, it's not hugely different. It looks like MrBlond going to scout the close by ground positions first. Unsuccessful. Alaran going to scout cross vertical first. And he's going to find both these guys are going to find these opponents find their opponent at cross positions. So not too much of a difference there in terms of the scouting. So Alaran, he's just got a single gas, whereas MrBlond does have the double gas going up. So maybe a fast robo play could possibly be a Stargate play as well. Something like that. A heavy tech play is probably going to come out of MrBlond as a Cybernetic core is just going to start up there right now. Could very possibly be kind of a 2-gate robo expand, get some force fields down on this ramp for example. So again, we're just going to have to see what MrBlond wants to do, and we'll see what Alaran wants to do with his single gas. MrBlond scouts this. Alaran taking his second gas pretty quickly it seems, after scouting that his opponent, well, he hasn't actually scouted his opponent's got 2 gas yet, and he will just scout that now. So Alaran sees this, sees his opponent's on 2 gas, knows his opponent's going to be taking up a little bit more quickly. And he's just going to hide his probe down here for now. So Alaran, right now, is just he's scouted, he's happy, and again MrBlond, he's scouted, he's happy too, and so both these guys are just going to be able to continue with their builds however they may like to. So Alaran just opened with that Zealot. We actually don't see Zealot out to both players. Stalker going to be the follow-up for Alaran as we see a sentry coming out from MrBlond. So MrBlond already maybe just wants to start building up that sentry energy, or maybe he's going for maybe a Stargate, so he needs them force fields. However, he did manage to lock his Zealot into his in there, and has to kill the pylon actually to get rid of it. So a little bit unfortunate for MrBlond, who again he's stacking up quite a lot of gas now, and there is the Stargate coming down from him. So Stargate against Robo opening here as Alaran adds on a second gateway too. So Alaran looking a lot like he wants to go for maybe a 2-gate Robo expand, and he's actually going to move out on the map with this Stalker and the Zealot. A little bit risky if his opponent was going for a free Stalker opening, a little bit risky if his opponent has the Zealot and 2 Stalkers out, which is going to be the well it's not going to be the case because he's got his out in the sentry. But Alaran just going to take the little tower with this, not pushing too far, which is the correct decision. He's going to be able to pull back pretty nice. He's just taking some little early map control before pulling back, and MrBlond, he's just keeping as much of his gas as possible for the Stargate, as he's got 2 Zealots out now and a sentry as well. So Alaran, with the Robo facility finishing, does have the Immortal in the production, and as the Stargate finishes we do see that Phoenix in production as well for MrBlond. Should be chrono boosting that out, I feel. Get them Phoenix out as fast as possible and start harassing as soon as you can. Start getting their energy building up. Alaran's still just hiding in the natural, ready to wait for his opponent, and if Alaran does go for an expansion here, which looks like is very possible, just checking for pylons in his natural right now, which is pretty nice as well. So Alaran, if he goes for an expansion, he's going to be in a pretty nice position, unless it's a kind of 4-gate Stargate follow-up from MrBlond. But already we do see 1 Immortal out. We're going to see the second Immortal popping out. Well, no we're not, because that's an Observer, so we're not going to see the second Immortal. Probably going to see a second Immortal in the production tab pretty soon. He's just getting an Observer out in case of DTs, things like that. Getting the first Immortal out first is a pretty nice thing to do though, of course, because it allows you that defensive capabilities and so on. Phoenix coming in from MrBlond does scout out exactly what's going on. Alaran a little bit sloppy with his Chrono Boost. Could be using that to a lot more of effect. Could have already 2 Immortals out probably by now. So just the Chrono Boost is a little thing to look at, as we now see the 2 Phoenix joining up together. And they're going to come in here, but 2 Phoenix can't kill the probes that quickly. So MrBlond's going to take quite some time to do this damage. And getting 2 probes there out of the gas guys is a nice place to pick them out of. And he's just going to be able to escape with these Phoenix unless he just stands there and lets them die. So Alaran trying to pick them off, but only taking the shield damage off of one of them. He still has this probe in the back of his opponent's base. You know, he's got the observer there too. He sees from his opponent, oh, you've got a Robo up now, you're getting Immortals too. You've got a Nexus coming down. So Alaran either needs to expand really quickly here, or go and make some kind of pressure, do some kind of pressure to keep it in the game. We see MrBlond going up to a Robo Bay almost immediately. It's a very greedy play out of him off of 2 gateways, opening with them Phoenix and going straight into the Robo facility as well. So Alaran and MrBlond both just sitting tight right now, as Alaran's going to take his expansion as well. He's got Twilight Council starting up. We'll see what he wants to use that for. But his expansion is later. Right now he's going to also take a couple more losses from the Phoenix maybe. So Alaran a little bit behind from the openings here. And we'll see how it goes on, especially because his opponent got that Robo facility up so quickly. He's already got 2 Immortals out. And so he's also even got the Robo Bay down faster as well, because Alaran feels like he needed to tech into Twilight Council, which against 2 Phoenix, like in this situation, the 2 Phoenix aren't really going to be able to do too much damage with the way the Stalkers are already positioned. So getting the blink is a little bit of an overreaction so early on, and it might actually end up hurting Alaran too, because there's just no need for it this early on when his opponent's already got the Robo Bay down and can go into Colossi so quickly, as he's also adding a Forge on too. So MrBlond set up very nicely for the kind of late game here, whereas Alaran, well, there's a 3rd Phoenix, wherever that came from. Where did the 3rd Phoenix come from? I don't know. So the 3 Phoenix now coming in, and Alaran's actually moved his Stalkers away, and so he's going to lose a few more probes. So once again, kind of losing his some of his economy here to his opponent. It looks like the 1 Phoenix will escape with just a little bit of health taken off of it. Oh, Alaran for a nice little snipe there. MrBlond not being too careful with them Phoenix at all. Alaran with a nice observer placement here. Oh no, that's not good. That's not good. That's not good. That's not good at all. Yeah, that never happened. So Alaran with a nice observer placement, he's going to be able to see his opponent leaving the base and so on, see if any kind of attack is on the way. And MrBlond has finally started up that Colossi switch as well, and he's got that Forge ready to go too. So now that he's got all of this gas mine and that natural, he's going to be able to go into this tech a lot more heavily than Alaran is, just because Alaran of course didn't get these gas geysers up as quickly. He's only just saturating them now. So Alaran, he's starting up another Immortal, which is cool. You know, you want to probably get that Immortal count up while you're waiting for the Robo Bay to finish. And MrBlond looks like he wants to take a 3rd base very quickly. So all the time MrBlond here just cutting the corners, just going that little extra step. Opens with Stargate but still gets more Immortals out than Alaran. Gets the Colossi quicker. All them kind of things. Just adding his Twilight Council on now. And again, that blink hasn't really come into play. The Phoenix kind of poking in, being denied here, but they've already done their damage. If you have a look at it, 1 kill, 2 kill, 1 kill, 4 probe kills, and just force the blink out of Alaran. So at the end of the day, Alaran's just been made to play from behind because of these Phoenix. So the Colossi production is starting up for Alaran, and both these guys could start considering taking the 3rd base. Not much is going to happen here unless one of them wants to go for 2 base Colossi timing, which, you know, MrBlond could do because of how far ahead he is, but I don't believe he's got an well, yes he does. So where's his observer? It must be with the army, because I don't see it. So he's got an observer, but he's not really using it. The Phoenix could go in and see exactly what Alaran has. They might say, well, you don't have any Colossi, cool, I can maybe go kill you. So if MrBlond wants to make some kind of attack happen, he can do that, but for now Alaran's just going to be able to sit in his base. He's got the 3 Immortals, which will help against kind of Colossi timing. And again, MrBlond's going to be the guy taking the economic advantage here, taking that 3rd base. And again, as soon as that 3rd base goes up faster, and also continuing to harass with these Phoenix, A little bit of a preemptive blink there by Alaran causes them Phoenix to not really die at all. The faster 5th base from MrBlond means again faster 5th and 6th gas geysers, and because of faster 5th and 6th gas geysers, he will end up being ahead in tech again. He'll be able to get a second rover facility earlier, he'll be able to just get +2 earlier. All them kind of things do come into help quite a lot in terms of late game, because if you max out faster than your opponent, you can obviously take a better engagement a lot faster, so a little bit of an interesting play. Alaran in general behind, as we just saw in the income tab, is about 16 workers behind. He could have got a Phoenix there. A little bit unfortunate not to. Sorka's bunkered down, but actually that just lets the Phoenix come into the main base. So again, Alaran just continuing to take damage from these Phoenixes. And if you have a look at the workers kill tab, 11 workers killed from MrBlond. He could get so many more here if he was just to actually use these Phoenix. And he will now try and escape. He could go past the natural and get a few more Phoenix if he would like, as the extended thermal lance is going to finish up for Alaran as well. And both these guys just kind of maxed out, but again MrBlond's just always one step ahead. He's got that Templar Archives down faster. The only thing that was really missing was maybe the second rover facility, which probably should come down before the Templar Archives. +2 well on the way for MrBlond. Alaran's starting to use that Chrono Boost a little bit more now, but still got so much of it, so again Colossi upgrades, just constantly Chrono Boosting them would help so much throughout the game. And Alaran actually going to decide to get a little bit aggressive here now. Not sure what he saw with his observer, but if he does go in there, he'll be able to see that, nope, that's not a good idea at all. Not against 4 Colossi, not up around at all. Alaran, if he just takes the middle, he could be okay. He knows his opponent's in his base, but if he continues to push, it could get a little bit nasty here very quickly. So Alaran going to have to be careful. He might just decide to try and harass up the 3rd base, but again, he's just so far behind in Colossus. And MrBlond again adding on that second rover facility, always that one step ahead, as Alaran doesn't have them 5th and 6th gases up yet, and that's really a priority in PvP. The faster you get the gases, the faster your tech comes out, and the faster you get ahead, basically. Alaran continuing to warp in here. Again, he's got another Colossi on the way, but again, just Chrono Boost on that. He's using his Chrono on the Forge, which is nice, but again, Chrono on the Colossi, get as many up as possible. Second rover finally going to come down for Alaran too. So again, Alaran just having to play from behind all game, just because his opponent played that little bit greedier, which has paid off for him in the end. And because of Phoenix actually going to scout Alaran's army. A nice blink in now. Will it get Phoenix finally? No. So MrBlond again going to be able to keep up the map control of these Phoenix, and he could very possibly come in and get even more probes. And again, he's still 18 workers ahead, so the more probes he kills, the more ahead he gets, and the better it is of course for him, as he takes the 4th base now. 5 Colossi now out. He's got 2 Colossi being produced at a time, and Alaran's still just producing 1 at a time here. He is going for +1 armor, which, well, he's got double forge, so he could be getting that +3 as well, so that's pretty important. Alaran with a nice little move in here might be able to get a cancel on the 4th base, but MrBlond should be able to just come in from behind. Well, MrBlond should have been able to just run in there and engage, because he just has the bigger Colossi count, which again is just absolutely everything in this matchup. He's even got the Archon out too. He's got the better upgrades more or less. So that's 2-0 against 2-0. Fleet Beacon coming down from MrBlond too, so again he's just, because he's so far ahead, he's just able to get everything so much sooner. And he's he's just ahead again. Look at this, he's maxed out now. He's going to be able to add on gateways. He's going to get these 2 extra Colossi out, and he's going to get a smother ship on the way as well. So he's still got these Phoenix out too to continue harassing if he feels like it. He could very easily go into the main right now, pick up a few more probes. Sure, he's oversaturated, but that's less probes are going to end up on the 3rd base at the end anyway. So MrBlond's starting to move out now. He's maxed, he wants to make something happen. He's got the high Colossi count. He's got 8 Colossi, which is pretty much the magic number in PvP. He's going up to 10, which is a little bit of a mistake. He's starting to spread out his Colossi as well, so a nice engagement going to come in from MrBlond, as Alaran's the guy running in here, which is probably not going to turn out too well for him. He does seem to have more on the ground, but a huge warming of Zealous from MrBlond is going to turn Alaran away. Alaran keeping most of his Colossi alive, and MrBlond starting to kind of retreat here. He's popped the Guardian Shield, going to just fall back now. 2 more Colossi are going to pop out for him, will indeed be able to help the fights go in his favour. And Alaran again just continuing to kind of position his army, so going to move to the top left now. Again, he's just so mineral starved because he just hasn't had the work count. He's got a lot of minerals. A lot of probes not kind of working over here. and it looks like he's going to start fighting in this position once again, and MrBlond going to come in from the right. Of course, he wants to defend this base, doesn't want that to go down at all. Warping into the Stalkers in the front, and he looks like he is once again going to push Alaran back here. That wall probably going to be doing a lot of work as well. Only 2 kills on it, but of course it's a lot of damage against Stalkers and Colossi. And Alaran once again pushing forward into the higher Colossi camp, which is just so risky to do again and again. And MrBlond again just happy to save the 4th base. If he can save the 4th base, I think he feels like, well, I'm ahead. So a little bit of a miss micro on the Colossi there, not being rallied correctly, but MrBlond comes out of those engagements about 40 supply, 50 supply ahead. If you look at the resources lost, it's really even. It's actually even pretty low. But again, the problem is Alaran just hasn't had the same amount of economy as his opponent. Finally getting his 3rd base saturated, but I mean, how long has the 3rd base been saturated for his opponent? A pretty long time. +3, going to finish up for Alaran pretty soon. Upgrades kind of forgotten about here for our player MrBlond. He does have a mothership on the way. Templar Archives coming down for Alaran as well. And again, this whole game's just kind of about being behind. Alaran's behind. He can't, like, if he was able to max out and make something happen, sure, but he just never kind of evened up the Colossi count. Since we have a little bit of a Zealot being taken out, he was never able to even up the Colossi counts. So without being able to even up the Colossi counts, you can't really pick a favourable engagement. If it was a max against max army, it's very possible to come back into it from being behind, because it's very simple. You just get a better engagement, your opponent clumps up and so on. But Alaran, without that similar Colossi count, kind of just hurt himself here. Too many gateway units, and in the end that's kind of what allowed MrBlond to continually put on the pressure, and, well, not put on the pressure, but defend from the pressure of Alaran, be able to keep up in supply, be able to create a bank, because Alaran's just maxed out. Mothership is going to be out pretty soon here, and that cloaking device is going to be pretty good. Chrono boosting that out. Again, Alaran wants to kind of attack from this left-hand position. It's a little bit of a choke here, so if MrBlond uses his bigger concave capabilities here, if he sees this incoming, which he can very well do with the Stalker, he will be able to get into a better position. So again, Alaran's very risky to be able to try and push up here. Much better to try and push up here, where you can get a much bigger spread, especially if you're going to be trying to fight into your opponent, which Alaran does have to do. He can't let his opponent fight in. He has to fight into his opponent, because his opponent isn't going to fight into him, and his opponent is ahead. So Alaran just sitting tight still, waiting for the max out maybe. But again, look at the banks. The remax is going to come so much faster for MrBlond. Add on the DT shrine as well. I like that for the kind of harassment abilities. 3-2 going to finish up from pretty soon as well. Adding on more gateways against you, just warp in faster. Adding on another robot facility, because why not, you know. The faster you can get them Colossi back up after a fight, the faster you can go into your opponent as well. Especially when you're ahead like this. And it looks like we're going to have the engagement now. MrBlond is pretty much much clumped up. He actually wasted a lot of Colossus shots over to the left hand side there. And he actually looks like he will be losing the Colossi numbers here. And he's actually going to end up losing all of his Colossi. Very simply because he was just moving out in a bad position, and that's exactly how this kind of game can turn around. So Alaran coming in from the kind of better angle here, and just finding himself with a bit of a better concave his Colossi, targeting down his opponent's Colossi a lot better. Zealot's now ripping apart his opponent's 4th base mineral line. More Zealots coming in from MrBlond. Alaran can just kite these backwards more or less and take them out pretty quickly with his Colossi, as this 4th base should pretty much just die. See another Archon being morphed in from Alaran. And MrBlond here, he had the advantage, but he's kind of just losing it now. The Colossi will go down here, and desperately trying to remax here. Alaran a little bit slow on the remax, but MrBlond spent all of his money, and he's still 40-50 supply behind. He does have a mother. Does he even have a mothership out anymore? Yes. Where's the mothership? There's the mothership. So MrBlond has a mothership, which is the one thing he kind of has going for him right now. But he's trying to remax on pretty much pure Archons. He's got a couple of Colossi about to pop out, but again, Alaran coming out of that fight very nicely, and tables kind of just turned. As you can see, he's lost a lot less than his opponent. So Alaran picking a nice fight in the end from being behind. So again, Alaran just needed that. He finally got to that kind of maxed out army, but he was just so vulnerable before then. He tried to make so much happen before that point. DT coming in here and trying to take out the 4th base, but not going to be successful at all. And a few cannons going to come down to start protecting that 4th base from the DTs as well. MrBlond kind of has a nice army here. Again, if you look at the army tab, we can see the army cost is actually a lot more gas intensive from MrBlond. It's actually probably a bit more of an expensive army. If you look at the income tab, he is down in workers, which means the army supplies are a lot similar than you might expect. So MrBlond pushing it into the middle of the map here, and you know, with the mothership, with a good vortex, things could definitely change, but it's going to be very hard to take out 8 Colossi of his opponent. We're going up to 10 as well. And again, it all comes down to that fight where the Colossi count was reset for MrBlond, and it wasn't for Alaran. So Alaran got his own 4th base up as well. He's going to be able to defend from the DTs now. And MrBlond is kind of just in the middle of the map, just waiting and waiting and waiting, waiting for more and more stuff to kind of kick in. But is anything actually going to be able to kick in for him? His 4th base, of course, being down for so long. And Alaran's going to be the guy who maxes out first this time around. And it looks like Alaran's just going to get aggressive already. Not going to give his opponent too long to get back into this. A couple of attempts have been taken out. They were pretty much useless. The Vortex could go down. He does catch 4 of the Colossi, 5 of the Colossi. This could be what MrBlond needs. He's still got his own Colossi clumped up a little bit, though. Have to see how the Vortex turns out. He spreads this Colossi. It's all going to come down. Can he kill off them 5 Colossi? If he can kill off the 5 Colossi, it might change the game, but no. Colossi are going to spread themselves pretty quickly there anyway. 2, 3 Colossi will go down, but again, Alaran just has so many in the back that he's going to be able to just push this mothership away with pretty much simple ease, and taking out the observers of his opponent too, as now he's going to be able to just continue to push up against his opponent. MrBlond, from being ahead all game, just that one fight, he didn't pressure Alaran fast enough. He felt he was ahead and he didn't want to go ender. He didn't want to fight in what should have been an unfavourable position, but when his opponent brought the fight to him, he didn't take advantage of his defender's position. He didn't spread his units preemptively. He didn't kind of split everything up. He didn't use his warpins to effect, mainly all because he lost them Colossi and miscontrolled them a little bit with them A moving the pylon. So once again, Alaran coming up to the left hand side, and he's going to be able to come through this choke, and once again probably be able to deny the 4th base, which is exactly what he should be looking to do now. He knows he's won the fight, and he's going to be able to come in here and pretty much just clean that up. So Alaran going to be able to just kick out this 4th base, and with it probably just take the whole game. As once again we've got a mothership still. Is there going to be a vortex going down? It looks like yes, there will be. It goes down mostly the stalkers though, but Alaran walking a few Colossi into it, walking quite a lot of Colossi into it. But he will be able to take down another Colossi there for his opponent. Is 3-3 against 2-3. So let's kind of charge in. These 2 Colossi might very well go down, but here comes the rest of Alaran's army popping out once again, and there's just nothing at all for MrBlond. And Alaran going to be able to take the victory here. Archons and Stalkers taking down the mothership, and MrBlond going to be forced to GG out, and Alaran going to be able to take the game. So to kind of just discuss the game for just a couple of moments, because I think most of it kind of got discussed during the cast. Alaran was behind. He tried to make something happen, but he wasn't really in a position to make something happen. When you're behind in PvP, you really just need to max out yourself and use your defender's advantage to not die before then, and then pick a favourable engagement against your opponent. And in this situation, that's what Alaran was able to do. But before then, he was in a big situation. He was behind in probes. The Phoenix fasted a little bit too much. Maybe invest in a cannon close to the mineral line, just one. Along with a couple of stalkers will help out a lot. And again, Alaran, his opponent just cut so many corners. He got the Robo facility up so quickly, he got that Nexus up so quickly, he got the 3rd Nexus up so quickly, so he just found himself ahead and Alaran found himself behind. So Alaran able to take the game in the end, but just needs to be a bit more careful in the mid game, play more defensively until you really do have a max. Guys, I'm Wardí, going to take a little quick break here before we go into our next game. So I hope you're enjoying the show, and we'll be back here in just a few moments.